all these buttons I got on here now freak me out. It's like one of these days I'm gonna have to actually start tapping these things with these oversized fingers of mine and see what they do. Uh, of course, we're stuck in the middle of the rumor mill. And we've all heard these crazy, crazy stories coming from this side, the other, Reddit, other, users. I saw this guy going on the other day. He's another one of the great Nodaks. You have all kinds of sorts of, evil, I'm always pissed off fans now. And like I said, you've got no doctors after the classic era, so I call them the Nodachi. Nodace. No doctors after classic era. Then you have the no doctors after Capaldi, no doctor, the Nodaks. Then you have the no doctors after Matt Smith, the No Dams. And of course, no doctors after Janet, the Nodats. You see, I got a code system going on this thing. And the Nodaks, the No Dams, the Nodachi, and it just amazes the shit out of me. This one guy, he's going, of course, the Whitaker era completely sucked, but Chibnall's era was much better compared to RTD's, second era. And I'm like, I love how some of these folks on these videos now carry on like they're suddenly a director of photography or some shit. It's like, but that's the internet for you. We all have opinions, and it's like one of my old instructors, I think, used to say, it was like, everyone, you got opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. They're usually stinky and they're full of shit. But, But, yeah, I was loving, of course, everything after the classic era is just completely not canon. I've heard that one too. Oy vey. Some of the crap they come up with is just amazing. And of course, you've all heard and seen this, being fans of the show. And I'm dying laughing because you do have this small, tiny little fraction of guys who hate the Fallout series. And I'm like, you mean the same Fallout? And I die laughing too because you could see they've got this fidget on their face because they want to go to their favorite, godchild, the Rotten Tomatoes. But Rotten Tomatoes is rated both seasons so far pretty highly, and it's also been awarded best favorite video game adaptation. Okay, well, I haven't really had time to listen to Sophie Aldred's podcast, and I have no interest in anything Christelle D says because I'm not kidding. If I saw that smile on another face, I'd swear to God I'm looking at a serial killer. I'm sorry. Well, yeah, and that's another thing I can't stand. Thank you for bringing that up, Trickpedia. Fallout officially confirmed for Series 3. And I keep typing on their pages. Of course, they don't ever reply. Dude, it was approved for Season 3 right after they approved it for Season 2. Which means it was already approved for Season 3 before the second season even aired. Yet they're announcing it like it's brand new news. I just heard this. Ella Purnell appeared and tickled my nuts as she told me about how the show got picked up. No! They told you that a long time ago. Like I said, I've never met Christelle D. I probably do not want to meet Christelle D. I'm sorry. Every time I see that gal do her little blurbs or whatever, and what ticks me off is I keep hitting the not interested button because I have no interest in what this person says. I'm not kidding. I take one look at this person and saccharin, artificial sweetener, keeps popping into my head. I'm sorry, but as I told you, my dad may not have been a grand high philosopher, but he taught me how to see through bullshit in the middle of a blizzard that's locked in a concrete dome, 3 feet thick, 3 feet of cement, concrete thick, And then, and sorry, but I see bullshit. And like I said, she's obviously, in cahoots with somebody at the BBC because she keeps, you know, like that cockroach when you flip the light off keeps coming back out. It's like, she crawls back from her a rock underneath every now and then. And like I said, where the hell was she, when there was a female doctor? She was nowhere to be seen. Why? Because her show got canned. Ugh. Well, like I said, she's obviously got connections somewhere, like other guys, like Ass Cracker and stuff like that. They've got connections, so they get all these inside things. And it's obviously, a couple of them, have got, BBC relatives or somebody they know working inside. I don't know. Either way, not my concern, not my problem. They can go on, but like I said, I died laughing when she was at the one con asking people to pay for autographs. I'm like, what have you done? Seriously. Mm. But like I said, it's just the word saccharin keeps popping into my head when I think of that person. Artificial sweetener. Ugh. Just like that box ticking show she's doing now. And yes, that is a box ticking show. And you'd think they'd have learned their lesson after the last couple seasons. That it didn't work. Ugh. Sean Astin, okay, before I'm hearing Corey Feldman's gone completely around the bend. I've had videos popping up on that lately. I'm like, dude, I think you're having side effects from the drugs you did back in the 80s. Or 90s, or whatever it was. Oh, he's blaming Haim now. Okay. That's kind of sad, too, because he was the one who was standing by Corey Haim and all that. And okay. I got a little phlegmy all of a sudden. Probably because it's actually warm out here for a change, and it's going to be a bit rainy later. I usually don't get phlegmy anymore, but, sorry about that. I was just checking the time because sometimes I get carried away and I lose track of time in this thing. All right, so yeah, and then of course you had a couple other folks out there, like I can't remember the one's name. It was began with a C. It wasn't. She was like all of a sudden, yeah, she became an expert because she was an extra for one of the Capaldi episodes, and of course you got the usual another extra now who's running around acting like they're the Grand Hyatt Poobah of everything. I'm like, dude. If you're reading rumors off Reddit when they haven't had a table read yet you're telling us about who's going to be running the show and all that later. They haven't even sat down and discussed, they haven't even done location scouting yet, from what I've heard, for the Christmas special. Yet everybody's talking about who's going to take over after RTD leaves. It's like they shouldn't have even let him do the Christmas special. I'm going to be honest with you. I hate to sound mean, I hate to sound evil, but his last two finales really fell flat. Not sticking the landing. He stick the landing about as well as the guy who was flying the Big Bopper Buddy Harley and where he got Richie Valens. He stuck the landing about as good as, oh God. I should have brought that up the day the music died. That makes me sad. But all right, he stick the landing. Well, then again, we don't know really how Amelia Earhart landed. I just wish they'd quit telling that goddamn Nickamaruru myth. She landed on this island where she stayed as a castaway. We found part of a boot. We found some other objects that probably came from her plane. Yeah, the rivet holes don't match anywhere near her Lockheed 10 Electra, and it doesn't matter that particular island was inhabited in the 19th century. This has to be Amelia Earhart stuff. Oh, God. Yeah, she somehow skipped I don't know how many hundreds of miles after they ran out of fuel to Nikamaruru. I'm so getting tired of that damn theory, and you keep bringing it up because this dude's making money off it. Ugh. Yeah, Good Omens 3. I didn't get into Good Omens. Like I said, everybody gets into stuff. We all have different opinions on stuff. Like Sandman. Sandman, I was asleep in halfway through the first episode. I was like, really? This is where Constantine came from? This is where Lucifer came from? I was like, it was boring. Ugh. I didn't even get to the part with Jenna Coleman, I don't think. Which, by the way, they lied to us outright. Again. Oh, no, she's playing a distant relative of John Constantine. And it turns out, no, the rights were all mixed up between DC and everything else because of the shows the character John Constantine had appeared on before. And, no, we're going with Joanna Constantine. We're edgy. Oh, God. Yeah, I didn't make it through the first the first episode. J. Michael has been trying to get people to say, look, let him run Doc. No, they'll never hand it over to a non-Brit. I can't think of a guy who wasn't British who's ran that show, since, Sidney Newman created it. Maybe I'm wrong. Look that up. Okay. Like I said, I never got into Good Omens. Like I said, not my bag. I don't know. I did like American Gods, and then it really went off the rails in the second season, and there was some kind of horse shit going on where a lot of the cast didn't come back or something. I'm like, ugh. Like I said, J. Michael Straczynski, like I said, the guy did a great job with Babylon 5, well, at least till they got to season 5, and he effed over Claudia Christian, where, like I said, I have my own theories on why that happened, but I will not state them here. I see guys reviewing the Babylon 5 series now, and they're already like most of the way through season 4, and I have to keep holding my hand back from typing, guys, this is the best it's going to get. Because season 5, while it did have its moments, I couldn't stand Tracy Abdominizer Scoggins on that show. She couldn't act her way out of a wet paper bag with a flamethrower. I'm sorry, Well, there was never meant to be more than one season of War Between, as far as I knew. I thought it was just a mini-series. Disney's already out. Whose books? War Between, if there was going to be another season, was probably part of the deal with Doctor Who. It's over. Yeah, so like I said, as far as I knew, I didn't know War Between was going to have a sequel series or anything like that. As far as I knew, it was just going to be a 5-part miniseries, and that was pretty much it. Also, given the fact that they pulled the Odo card and wiped out the whole, pretty much all the Sea Devils, damn near wrote them to extinct, using the exact same plot device they used for Odo in Deep Space Nine with the Founders. I'm like, you're kidding me, right? Like, I've seen this before. It was also part of a plan they were going to use when they originally sent Hugh back to the Borg. They were going to give him something to give to the rest of the Borg to take out the Borg Collective. But no, they ended up using it in DS9 when they gave Odo that virus that they gave to the Founders. But instead of wiping him out, they did give him the cure. Peace was declared and everybody was happy. That's the only difference. Well, yeah, it was supposed to air on BBC One, wasn't it? Yeah, not too long for now. Already, or I can't remember. By the way, war between. No, I don't think there was going to be a season 2, and even if there was, the deal with Doctor Who is over. It was over months before they finally announced it, and they fed everybody a line of bullshit. And like I said, we already know how that story ended. I got to get inside, folks, because I've hit the timer mark. So please be kind, be calm, be safe. Enjoy the rest of your day. If you want to turn somebody to stone, simply show one of the infamous pictures of a certain person on a certain podcast smiling. Matter of fact, put a picture of up in your garden. I guarantee you're never going to have a problem with moles again or anything. All the creatures will turn to stone. They'll make nice little pebbles for your garden foundation. Oh well. Take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. If I can hit the...